Welcome to the Turn One Studio podcast. I'm Eliud Custodio with Turn One Studio, and here we sit with local business professionals. Today, we have a special treat. We're here with Terri Alessi-Miceli from HIA-LI and Kelly Murphy from Suffolk IDA. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you two here because I know your two organizations work a lot together. So before we get into that, take a moment to explain what each organization does for those who don't know.
Sure. So HIA-LI, we're right in, your studios are right in the Long Island Innovation Park at Hauppauge. So, we're one of the recognized voices for Long Island business. I think a powerful force in regional and economic development, supporting the Long Island business community, but also advocating for this park, which I know we'll talk a little bit about in a second, but it's a major economic engine.
Yeah.
Great. So the Suffolk IDA is the Suffolk County Industrial Development Agency. So we are a state agency. There are over 100 IDAs throughout the state, and there's 5 right here in Suffolk County. But we can and do operate throughout the county. And what we do as economic development professionals is we offer incentives to companies to urge and encourage them to remain, relocate, or expand here in the county.
Excellent.
And as a public benefit agency, in return, they commit to job creation and retention, which is so important in the county, as well as private capital investment.
Okay. Are there certain types of companies that are best fit for?
There are. Primarily, it's manufacturing. Really large part of what we do is manufacturing, research and development, distribution. There is some hospitality or recreational projects that we're able to help. And very important, multifamily housing. As commercial properties, they qualify. And, hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about the affordability crisis and the importance of a variety of housing choices. But we see it as an economic development imperative, so it is an industry that we support.
Yeah, excellent. And what sort of businesses are ideal for membership in HIA-LI?
Oh gosh, they span the gamut. I mean, our sweet spot tends to be companies that have anywhere from 25 to about 150, 200 employees, which, by the way, Eliud, is indicative of Long Island, right?
Sure.
Because there's such an entrepreneurial spirit. So when you look both inside this park and outside this park, that's what you find. And they range from professional service agencies to, as Kelly said, manufacturing, to any of the professional service agencies in terms of law firms, accounting firms, things like that.
And it's not exclusive to those in the park.
Absolutely
you don't
not.
have to be in the park.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about how your two organizations work together. Have you seen a lot of activity on the IDA side within the park here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We started working together 11 years ago, actually. My work anniversary is coming up next week.
Oh, wow.
Which is 11 years, and we started quite early on.
Yeah.
So, we saw how closely our mission and goals aligned early on, not to mention really getting along well and liking to spend time together. So, and we joke that every time we get together, we both come away with 3 new projects that we have to work on. So, but early on, we took a look at the IDA has been working with Regional Plan Association, RPA, for many years on planning in municipalities throughout the county. And Terri and I started talking, and I said, hey, why don't we, look at what a planning study could do for the park? Look at what we could do to bring it into the 21st century.
Yeah.
So we started with a very small charrette, a classic SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, mostly with her board at the time. And it really was the catalyst for so much work that Terri and her board and Joe Campolo have championed over the years. We came back in after they performed a pretty exhaustive economic impact analysis with Stony Brook.
Yep.
We came back in and did some more planning, brought James Lima into it, and have continued to just really look at, what Lima's group did was they looked at what were the workforce gaps after COVID, what was lacking, what was missing, and really helped us,
Were there any
create
major
a roadmap.
surprises in that?
No major surprises, but I think they helped urge things along. When you hear Terri, and I'll let her do all the stats, but a lot of that came as a result of really looking at the park.
Ah,
And
okay.
obviously, my favorite one is, second largest industrial park in the country, second only to Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's
It's
a proud
so
moment.
meaningful, right? Because it's something people really can connect with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could talk on and on.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
So
through
I
that.
have to say, for me, I mean, I grew up in Hauppauge. So as a kid, I used to, without giving you my age, I used to ride my bicycle through this area, and
Oh,
it used to
nice.
be all wires, hence Wireless Boulevard. That's how it was named at the time. But
Did the streets exist?
the
was it
streets
divided up?
existed with me.
Okay.
Pre that, there are people I know that the streets didn't exist.
Okay.
But it's just been amazing. This opportunity analysis that we've partnered with the Suffolk IDA was an absolute game changer. Because as Kelly said, we started to begin to look at, or very early on, how do we partner with Stony Brook, and particularly with Stony Brook students, to really look at what does the makeup of the park look like? So they went into the park and they looked at the types of industries, and they looked at, how big companies were, both in terms of revenue as well as employee size. So that was really the start. But when Kelly and I got together, and I agree, we laugh about how we just create a lot of work for ourselves, because I think and it's why we get along so well. We're very creative beings who want to solve everything all the time.
Yeah.
But I think have a gift for kind of walking away and saying, okay, what would be the first step? Okay, what would be the second step? I
Yeah.
think we both do that well
And how can
separately.
we get it done?
Yeah.
It's never no, we can't do that. It's
Right.
how do we get it done?
Right. And that's where the fun comes in, I imagine.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. So, I mean, the stats that Kelly spoke about. I mean, the largest, right, in the United States, second behind Silicon Valley, 1,300 companies, 55,000 employees, $13 billion in economic output. And we looked at what are called tradable sectors, which are industries that are bringing monies into Long Island to fund the downtowns, to help fund the hairdresser, to help fund the nail salon, all those
Yeah.
places that we go. 58% of the industries in the park are from tradable sectors. That is well over 20% more than the entire United States in tradable sectors. It is a major
impressive.
economic engine. And it's interesting when you do studies like that, because what happens is when you can articulate it like that, we always knew it was big.
Right.
We always, drove around and said, oh my God, it's so dense. We knew
but
that
the numbers
part of
don't
it,
lie.
But the numbers don't lie. So that brought capital, that brought investors, that brought, as Kelly said, and they do a marvelous job at really helping companies in the park expand. That bought technology, that bought smart cars, that bought, it really just opened up our world to what can really happen in this park. So we've had a lot of firsts. We've had the first child care center in an industrial park right here in Hauppauge. We will have the first smart park.
Okay. So what defines a smart park?
The connectivity more than anything else,
Okay.
right? So it's the ability to be able to really connect on all levels, so much so that when this happens, we would be able to, I don't know if we'll do it, but we would be able to have cars that run by themselves
Okay.
because they're run with smart technology. So, that could happen. Just a myriad of possibilities that we would have never thought. We would be the first park in the nation that would happen.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Well, and I also think it's worth noting the pipeline and the synergies in the park. One
Yeah.
of the reports that we did or took a really good look at was pharmaceutical and nutraceutical growth and clustering here in the county. And what we found out and what we now know is that Suffolk County has the highest number of pharmaceutical and manufacturing throughout the state.
Really?
Right here in the county.
Okay.
So, and they continue to grow and prosper. I have some new clients coming before us. But it's not just the Pharma Nutra, but it's the testing, and it's the labels, and
It's ancillary, yeah.
so it's all of
Right.
the other businesses that support each other.
All part of the supply chain
And
for that.
so when they find out, what all is here, it's really an attraction.
You mentioned COVID earlier, and maybe this is a silly question because it's not necessarily apples to apples, but when COVID hit and everyone was affected by that, was the park a little more shielded than other areas because of what we have here?
No,
No?
in fact, I think the complete opposite happened,
Okay.
and I have to tell you that everyone rose to the occasion. So
Okay.
the first thing I remember happening is obviously everybody began, or most people began to work from home, but we reached out to some of the pharma companies, some of the other companies, for PPP, for masks, they started to just manufacture and really become flexible at, okay, here's what I normally do, but now people need, again, masks. Or now people need any sort of ancillary product that might have helped out through COVID. I mean, they
Right.
were amazing at stepping up to the plate. Absolutely amazing. So they got to work. I think that was possibly the difference here.
Yeah.
Because we have such a nucleus, but we weren't shielded from anything.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
right? But
I don't think anybody was,
no,
right?
right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very cool. So I hear all the time on a national level, they talk about baby boomers retiring, and they represent such a high body count, if you will, from a business perspective, that there are a lot of businesses that are going under because no one's there to take it over. Are we seeing that in the park? Are we saying that there's any sort of bench to prevent any of that? Do we have a lot of baby boomer ownership in the park?
So, I mean, there was just a study recently that came out that asked, I can't remember who did it now, but who asked kids, I'm saying kids, people from the ages of 16 to about 35. That's a big gap, right? Do you have any plans of leaving Long Island within the next 5 years? And I think it was like 68% of them that said yes. So do we have a challenge? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the park, I think inside and outside the park, they become extremely resilient and creative in the way they bring employees in. So we do a lot of work in workforce development. In fact, November 4th, we'll be doing a workforce development summit. And Kelly alluded to before, the second study we did that James Lima helped out with was, and WDI
Right. It was a
helped
big
with,
part.
which is Workforce Development Institute, what had to do with a very holistic view of workforce development, what that looks like. How do you get employees? How are people industry-wise getting employees? What are they doing to keep employees? And it
How
really,
we're training them.
yeah, it really gave a really nice view of. So we'll be talking about a lot of that on November 4th, and we're bringing in superintendents, one of the first times we're doing this, and guidance counselors
Oh, okay.
to talk about what has to happen with the curriculum, because you have to back up to be able to say, are we training our kids the way we need to train them? What are we doing to help them stay here? We do a lot, both agencies in economic development and housing and helping all of that. But, so there's a lot of reasons why people leave. I think, don't you feel? I feel like Long Island has become a lot more resilient and creative
Absolutely.
in the way they try to
Absolutely.
find people.
Well, and we talked years ago about the importance of connecting companies, CEOs,
Yeah.
with universities and high schools, and we've seen a whole lot more intervention there. Because while a highly skilled workforce is so important to these companies, what we were seeing years ago was, they were coming out of college and they were missing some really basic certifications or
Right.
the soft skills or a variety of
Right.
skills that, are easily addressed. So, and I think that's the difference, the willingness that you're seeing of academia to interact directly with, corporations now in terms of addressing those needs. So it's not just the skills gaps that exist. It's again, the affordable housing or housing choices.
Yeah. Well, there's no shortage of young adults. There's no shortage of schools around here.
Right.
What seems to be the biggest pain point getting more corporations involved with working with the schools to bring on the quote-unquote kids?
So what we hear from our members, number one thing we hear from our members is universities, particularly some of the larger ones, do great work. They do phenomenal work, yet they're tough to deal with because there are just so many different departments and divisions. And so, a CEO sits at his or her seat and they're running their own companies, right? So that what they don't want to worry about, who are the 8 people I have to reach out to?
A little too much friction
in
to
a
get
university to be able to. It's just a very complicated animal. And by the way, the institutions we deal with have been very upcoming with, it's complicated. Like they understand it's complicated.
Sure.
That is the number one issue for businesses that I talk to, is it needs to be made more streamlined. It needs to be made easier. So we're working in those directions. But I agree with Kelly. I mean, I think the institutions, to their credit, have really stepped up to the plate because they have to.
Yeah.
Right? They have to, because now we would just, these people are retiring and we need young people now to step up to the plate and be leaders and get involved. And so they have no choice, really.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, retaining talent's important. Attracting talent's important. Bringing companies in that could do both, important. I don't know how many years it's been at this point. It feels like yesterday. I know it's been a while when Canon moved their headquarters to Melville.
Yep.
What would it take for us to bring similar companies in to do the same? How can we make Long Island more attractive?
That's a great question, and one that economic development professionals on the county and state level are looking at very closely. Many or all of the other areas in New York State have what's called an economic development organization, an EDO.
Okay.
And that is a place where they bring together all of the folks in terms of what economic development incentives are available, what workforce development initiatives, and anything and everything where if a CEO from another state is looking to relocate, they use site selectors. And site selectors don't want to call 8 or 10 different people or the CEO directly. So an organization like that kind of brings everybody. It doesn't take anything away from any individual organization, but adds to it. Right?
So one-stop shop.
Yeah. So that's an initiative that's been undertaken recently by Empire State Development.
Okay.
And I was going to say the Regional Economic Development Council here on Long Island has done a fabulous job of connecting academia and corporations, to address the workforce needs. But in this area, and this is something Terry and I have worked closely with Kara Longworth, who's the regional director, to really start to look at, along with John Durso and Kyle Strober, how can we bring all of these folks together and create, as Terry calls it, a one-stop shop, right?
So, it's interesting. I'm listening to you. It just dawned on me.
What?
When we talk about institutions and we talk about an EDO, it's all about streamlining and making that process easier.
Yeah.
Like, with the EDO, you can go to several different people right now. And again, we feel very strongly that we help in that function. But
We do.
wouldn't it be great to have one place for someone to go to? I will say, in terms of the REDC, the Regional Economic Development Council, they have a program right now from New York State called Achieve that really takes a look at the front end, which is how do we help rookies or people that are just starting out and really are entrepreneurs and really need to, sometimes it's funding, most of the times it's funding, but sometimes it's mentorship, their ability to be able to get from point A to B and really either invent something or start a company and bring people on. So you take those two things, an EDO that's helping a company come from out of state, really be welcome, really understand what's here, and there's a lot here to offer, and monies to really help people that are starting up. That's a wow.
Yeah.
That's a wow. Like, that's a future for our kids.
Sure.
Right? Within the next 5 to 10 years.
It is.
Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So with all the reports that you put together and you share together, what are you seeing on the horizon for the park?
So the Suffolk IDA does a marvelous job at helping the businesses inside and outside the park expand, right? Tax incentives, as Kelly said, and we've seen a lot of that currently. So it'd be great to be able to see, based on what's happened with that opportunity analysis, what that looks like now. Because really, I said it more than once, that opportunity analysis has been, for the HIA-LI and for the economy, really a game changer. Just in terms of, again, brick and mortar signs that we'll be doing now, and developing a smart park, and a lot of different things that have really spurred from that, workforce development,
Right.
things like that. So it'd be great to see, again, what it looks like now.
Yeah, it really would.
Yeah,
would.
that would
We'll
be
have to talk
exciting.
More about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
See if
More
we can-
projects for you two.
Exactly. Very
Yeah.
exciting one, though.
yeah, definitely.
So I know among all the benefits that the HIA-LI offers those in the park, or those even outside of the park, the membership, you guys recognize businesses.
Yeah, so we have coming up September 19th our Business Achievement Awards. We're in our 31st year. It started with the idea of how do we celebrate business? How do we look at, how businesses in general, what are they doing for community outreach, employee involvement, what achievements do they have, what leadership are they showing on Long Island? And wow, like every year that we do this, I say they just have so much in common. Very different industries,
Sure.
very different companies. They just have so much in common, the way they celebrate their employees and things. And it's important, more important now than ever before,
Yeah.
really, to highlight that. So it's a lot of fun. September 19th, come on down. It's at Crest Hollow.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you are one of the finalists.
We are
from one of the
finalists.
studios,
My,
so
that's
congratulations.
terrific.
Yeah, very proud of that.
Congratulations.
Looking forward to it. All right, so the most important question of the day. What do you like to do for fun?
Oh, gosh. Travel. Love to
Travel.
travel. Anywhere, anytime, short trips, long trips.
What's your favorite trip?
Oh, what's my favorite trip? Wow. Well, I just did a river cruise down the Danube. That was
Wow,
pretty
okay.
cool and interesting. Got to see 5 different countries without unpacking more than once.
How many days does it take to do
It
that?
was 7 days, but we also spent a couple of extra days in the beginning in Budapest and went to Paris in the end. So that was a
Wow.
fabulous trip.
Nice.
Yeah, terrific.
How about you, Terry?
Yeah, isn't it amazing that there's a whole world out
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
So I did
A
all
lot to
that.
see.
I mean, I love to travel. We just came back from Aruba. And I mentioned off screen that my son leaves next week for college, and I think it's a great opportunity for my husband and I to travel a lot more,
Yeah.
which is cool. Love to read. I'm in a book club. Like
Oh.
I'm an avid, like 2 books a week. I mean, avid
I am
reader.
too,
Really?
but I need a book club.
Yeah.
If there's any room, you let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
know.
yeah, definitely. And we do a big we have a big women's initiative every year in November. I think this year it's November 14th. We have a women's conference, and I consistently say that women are never better than when they celebrate each other. I think we're a great we're friends.
Yeah, yeah.
We're good friends, but we're a great example of that. But my book club, that's what brings me there, is just a group of women that just celebrate each other.
That's awesome.
And so those are 2 things that are top for me that make me relax, which is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, this was amazing. There's a lot we can talk about. We should do this again. But I thank you for coming down.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
Kelly, this is a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Terry?
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks.